Hey there, music and audio friends. This is Nick Borrego from ConvergeAudio.com. This video is all about the solo viola library from Fluffy Audio. What I've liked about Fluffy Audio in the past is they've always had really great deals on quality instruments. They even have a free flute on there. That's a really great way to kind of break into using a sampled flute. Really cool. It's called Simple Flute. Check it out. This is all about their solo viola library, and for $79 US is the regular price. I believe I picked it up for about half as much during all the Christmas sales. I'm really happy with it. What I like about it is how extensive it goes into mic placement, and it really has some great articulation variety here. I have kind of an ensemble, if you will, of 5 different violas playing the same piece, just to showcase each different articulation, so that it's just it's a good display of what you get out of each one: the legato, vibrato, the non-vibrato, staccato, spiccato, and pizzicato. Listen to the non-vibrato one. I believe it still has a little bit of vibrato in there, regardless of what it's called. It's just not quite as intense of a vibrato as you get in the one that's actually called, just the regular vibrato. So what I will do is fire this up. You may recognize this one from Skyrim, one of my favorite composers, Jeremy Soule. It's the melody from Ancient Stones that I just kind of played off the top of my head. So there's probably going to be a few flaws in the actual arrangement, but you know what it is going for. But it will give you an example of what each articulation sounds like, and then I'll kind of pick it apart after that and show you what we can get into with mic placements and all the various other tools we have inside of this really nice little interface I have included. There's a couple things that I really like about what they've done with the legato. Let me go into that. I'm going to show you what's going on with... There's kind of a certain way you have to play this with the keys. Let me pull up the MIDI so you can see what I'm talking about. You'll notice none of these notes are quantized. I haven't snapped them to the grid, and that's pretty common when it comes to strings because the attacks can kind of vary in the way that they are recorded, and that gives a more natural sound. So if you're the kind of person who's getting into this for the first time, I would go ahead and just write quantizing out of the picture completely for strings libraries, unless you happen to be lucky enough to use one that's like kind of a quick articulation, like a quick technique like a pizzicato or a staccato, spiccato. Some of those can line up okay when they're quantized, but you're talking about a natural sound now snapped to a grid, and that doesn't necessarily translate when it comes to putting them all to that. But anyway, back to my main point about the legato is the way that I like the way it's scripted is that you see a lot of my notes are overlapping down here. The reason for that is it kind of gives a more realistic approach to the legato technique in that it will just transfer from one note to the next. The engine itself will kind of do its own scripting with the bowing, and I know you can mess with that type of thing. But what I do like is when you run into an overlapping note, such as I have back here towards the tail end, it will bounce back between those notes pretty quickly. Let me play that again and go back a little further. That doo-doo right there. And the way you play with this is you keep one note sustained like that, and then you can punch in a note, let it go. It will revert back to that one that is still sustaining, and then you can go from there. And that's how you kind of create that quick jump there, that nice little interval jump. So I like the way they've scripted it that way. The other point that I want to bring out that I thought was very cool that they demonstrated on the website was what they've done with the pitch bend wheel of all things. What they've done with that is they've kind of shown you how when you normally have it played out, you sometimes have to script in your own mod wheel decrease on that part where it will sort of fade out on its own. And that I have done already. But one thing that's really cool that they've done is if you had the pitch bend and you engage a downward of the pitch bend, it will do a natural fade out that will automatically script into there. So you don't have to really have like a really carefully crafted mod wheel decrease right there. You can just pull that pitch bend wheel down and it will do it naturally. Here, let me play it to you with that pitch bend and without it. Nice fade out, right? Okay, I'm going to disengage that pitch bend. With. Nice, long, consistent sustain and natural recorded sustain, and without. I'll even do another step further, and I'll go to the mod wheel. I'm going to get rid of my mod wheel articulation on that part so you can really hear the way it does that. Okay, let's go back to pitch bend, and I will show you what it's like without that pitch bend. Okay, it goes to that end of that bow and then stops. Okay, let's go ahead and add that pitch wheel decrease and see what this does. I really like this. Natural fade out. So instead of you trying to get crafty with the mod wheel and making that kind of fade out to decrease the way that you think it would naturally, they've recorded these bits where it will automatically script that into there and give you a natural fade out. I think that's a really cool tool. Very useful for those notes to kind of fade out and sound more realistic. So let's go over to the non-vibrato legato patch and let's check out a little bit of this. I think that, yes, you do have a decrease in that vibrato, but what it also does is they've kind of included a little bit of harmonics there. Some of that bow picking up those harmonic notes in there, kind of picking up a little bit higher, and I felt like I needed to kind of EQ a little bit of those out on the high end, but here, I'll give you an example of it soloed. What that could do is add a little bit of a gritty effect that you may actually like, and I find that when I have it included with everything else, it actually works out pretty well. It kind of gives a little bit more realism, and I don't know, I just think it adds a little bit more of a kind of a nice grit to it. These other articulations are fairly straightforward, as you know how it's basically, you know, short, nothing sustained about them. They just have to record them like with the pluck or just a quick strike, and that's how you get these. So I'm not going to go too extensive into how the engine works with those. It's very straightforward, and you can hear them as they are soloed out right now for you. And last but not least, what I'm going to do is just check a few mic placements with you on those legatos. Now, obviously, I just messed with the mic placement of that first track, but what it does is it gives you a little bit of flexibility, and do you want to have something at the focal point, something really up close, something in the background a little bit. This is all from a solo library. It's designed to be for a solo feature. I personally have thrown it in with a couple other violas happening at the same time, creating what you've heard in this entire arrangement, where it's very useful as its own standalone instrument inside of your arrangement, but it also is really great to couple with others from the same exact library, and it sounds really great. I think for $79 US, it's a great place to start if you don't have a couple $100 to really get some of those really high-end libraries. What they've given you for $79 is pretty reasonable. And then if you wait around for like the Black Friday sales, and maybe there'll be another summer sale coming up, who knows? Fluffy Audio tends to kind of do what a lot of you know, kind of the big players in the sample library game tend to do is to give you like kind of a twice a year big sale. So the summer sales and then the holiday sales. So if you want to wait around for that, then you may be able to pick this up for half off like I did for the Christmas sale. But for $79, it's not terribly expensive, and it will actually give you a nice sounding viola in the meantime. It's not necessarily going to mean you're going to have to, you know, you can't, you're not going to be able to go out to that date that weekend or whatever else you were saving up for. Basically, it's not going to break the bank. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this review. I would definitely recommend Fluffy Audio's solo viola. Among many of their other fantastic libraries, go to their website. They got this really cool raccoon that's kind of passed out over his music sheets. Looks like he or she's been up for a really long night of writing, and it's just the coolest logo I've ever seen. So go to their website and check out their work. Thank you for tuning in. This is Nick from Converge Audio. Please give us a like, comment, or subscribe, and I shall be back at you guys soon.